or after a rare snow at Joshua Tree. That's Blackie Cook there, and my dad, Harry, right there. That's, I don't know. That's me on the right, I believe, having fun. Here we are in Wrightwood, Los Angeles National Forest, I believe. That's Harry and Blackie unloading Blackie Cook's 55. We're going to go tobogganing. That's Helen Cook and Harry, I do believe. And we spent a pretty long day enjoying the snow and having just a good old time with friends and a little lunch at the end. It was cold. Here we are at Joshua Tree National Monument, which is now a national park, with the Cooks and Dave and Georgia. Forget their last name. They were friends of Dad's. And there's Dave taking pictures of the squirrels. They always seem to entertain us. Most of us kids like climbing on the rocks. Well, I think the adults did too. This was probably in the late 50s. We went there a lot because it was close to home, and there's a good panorama in the Hidden Valley campground area. A very unique place. I'd like to go back, but it's awfully crowded. Another place our family liked to go visit was the Parker Strip at the Colorado River. Here we are with the Cooks, trying to learn how to water ski. That's Blackie Cook there. And on the floaters is Larry and myself, John. We had a good time, a lot of fond memories. And here's Blackie again, I think, trying to get up on skis. I think we eventually all got up on skis that weekend. Good times. Another place we liked to go camping was at Twin Lakes near Bridgeport. We always made a lot of friends. There we were having a group dinner. Myron and Bernice is the only couple I can remember their name. And here's Harry feeding the squirrels, which were very tame, probably way too tame. At those times, we didn't know the dangers of the diseases that squirrels can carry. We made a lot of friends in that area, and over the years, they came and gone, and we went to Twin Lakes quite a few times over the years, clear up and through the time I was in college. That's Harry enjoying the squirrels. I don't remember the name of the folks who had this boat, but we're getting ready to launch into Mono Lake, which is a brackish lake. I don't think there's any fish in it. It's on Highway 395. We were on our way home from Twin Lakes. These folks lived over in Anaheim, I do believe. We went to their house a couple of times for social visits. And that's me cranking the boat down. We just spent a couple of hours out on the lake boating around, and the man that owned the boat trusted me enough to drive his boat. I don't know why, but I guess he kind of took a liking to me. We had a good time that afternoon. We went out and visited one of the islands out there. Not much grows around there because of the brackish water. But we found this one island that had been a previous movie set for some science fiction movie way back in the 50s. And we got out and walked around on the island and explored the movie set, which was a miniature mountain. And I even took home a little souvenir from that movie set. Had it for years, but it finally went by the wayside and got tossed. There's the little island, and you'll see the structure, some type of fortress or castle, and that's John and Harry up there exploring the castle. And you'll see a back view here shortly. A lot of seagulls there because of the shrimp in the water. John at the helm. I only remember going to Lake Tahoe just 2 or 3 times. It was pretty expensive in those days as it is now, but here's a couple of views of the lake and the island out there. Forget the name of it. Beautiful area. Harry and Bernice were charter members of the Santa Ana Trader Club, and we went on rallies in different locations. Not really quite sure where this is at, but I'm thinking it was Herky Creek. And we'd have get-togethers and potlucks like we're doing here, and all the ladies would do all the meal preparation, and the guys would sit around and talk about their rigs like they're doing here, and comparing and making suggestions. And you got to remember, this was in the late 50s, so RVing hadn't really quite caught on yet as it is today. But we had a good time. A lot of the kids and I would just do all kinds of activities. Here we are at the Colorado Strip again with the Cooks. That's Harry's boat and Blackie Cook's engine on there. I think it was only a 7 horsepower engine. Here's the campfire that I built. And we had a great weekend. Even got to ski behind that boat, I think. Here's us kids floating down the river. We'd float down a mile or so, and then the adults would, that's Doug and Larry Cook and myself, John. We had a grand old time. It was hot out there in the summer months, so we went normally in the spring and in the fall. Not quite as busy as it is today. And there's Bernice, my mother. And there's the campfire that I built. Well, that's it for here. This was Harry and Bernice's truck and trailer rig, which we put a lot of miles on. We're getting ready to go to Yosemite. My parents decided we should try backpacking, so that's what we're doing here. We're leaving here at Tuolumne Meadows. We had no idea what we were doing, but we sure learned fast. I carried way too much gear, and it was a very exhausting trip. My friend Bill Chilson from high school and I retraced the very steps of this particular trip about 20 years later in the 1980s. There's Harry and John, and we went up Rafferty Creek to Vogelsang High Sierra Camp. And they allowed campfires in those days. I don't believe they do now because of the lack of firewood. We carried way too much gear, way too much weight. Lightweight equipment didn't exist in those days. This is a family we met there by our campsite that believe they had been up to Mount Whitney and were on their way back down. This is a psychologist that we met also in the campground, and he took a liking to me, and we spent a lot of time at the store just talking about different things and having some juice. He was kind of a clown here in the pictures, showing some motion. And just some more views of the area. There was still a lot of snow on the ground. And on the way back, I was the first one back at camp. I was invigorated. There's Bernice getting a drink from the stream. We didn't filter in those days. Didn't even know what Giardia was. Here we are at the Humes homestead at Wilder, Idaho. Oh man, there was a bunch of us. There was Don Hume and his daughters, Linda, and there's Leslie, and the other daughter was Donna. That's Don Hume's mother. I don't remember her name. A hard-working lady. And there's Linda and Donna and we stopped here many times over the years. Got on this old locomotive at the museum. That's John in the cab of the locomotive. This is our trip to Sequoia. In 1961, I took my friend Ron Nelson with me. This was a day hike here, a ranger-led day hike. I don't remember the name of the grove, but it was a good hike, several miles. Took a lot of really nice pictures. There's the ranger that led the tour. That's Ron Nelson on the left and John on the right. Here we are, I believe, at Morrow Rock, and that's Harry Verburg. And there's Bernice climbing up the steps to Morrow Rock. It's not a bad climb. It would be today for me. It's a big granite monolith at the entrance to Sequoia National Park. It was a nice vacation. This particular tree, the buttress tree, had just fallen a previous year. It was still alive as the needles were still on the limbs. And that's Ron and I walking over the top of it. And the tunnel log, and that's the family rig, just the truck and camper. Nowadays, not many vehicles could get under that, but this was probably the largest at the time. And there's Ron and I getting out of the back of the camper. And the auto log, which you can drive your vehicle on and take photographs. Well, that's going to be about it. Hope you enjoyed.